Stoics glorify silence. For them, silence is a sign of virtue. Not speaking, not reacting is a symbol of spiritual superiority. But is it really so? Does silence make us powerful and dignified in every situation? Or is it just a dry consolation? Just self-gratification? Or, contrary to popular belief, does Stoic silence hinder our efforts to exist as individuals in modern life? The thin paint on the Stoic myth of silence needs to be scraped off and the rotten wood underneath exposed. Because silence is not always golden. Sometimes it is just like rusted iron, heavy, dysfunctional, and dragging you down. Silence, the so-called triumph of Stoicism. The Stoics say, do not worry about what you cannot control, remain unresponsive, and keep your peace of mind. At first glance, this may make sense to some. After all, nobody wants to disturb their own peace of mind, right? But in practice, things change when you ask how this idea affects life. Because life is too noisy to accept silence. Silence is often not a virtue, but a method of escape. Running away from problems, running away from reality. And where is courage and struggle in this escape? Suppose, for example, that someone has wronged you. Your boss didn't compensate you for your labor, or a friend broke your trust. The Stoics advise you to keep silent, because reacting only makes you tired. But in reality, this silence only empowers the wrongdoer. Instead of making them question their actions, you create a ground on which they can more easily manipulate you. Silence does not resolve a conflict. It only covers it up. It makes you a person who suppresses your emotions and does not stand up for your rights, even when you are right. This is why the Stoic myth of silence is an illusion that diminishes the power of the individual. Of course, making noise is not always a good thing. But a voice that is not heard in time becomes a lump in the throat when the time has passed. You want to fool yourself. Stay silent. Silence fools everyone, especially yourself. On the surface, the Stoic strategy of silence may seem like a strong stance. But is it possible to underpin this stance? Imagine that someone disrespects you. Does remaining silent and doing nothing really make you respectable? Or does it send a message to the other person? This person is too weak to defend themselves? First of all, you are a human being. What makes you different from other creatures is your ability to express yourself. Silence is sometimes perceived as a kind of social passivity. People may see your lack of reaction not as a sign of strength, but as a sign of weakness. For example, in a work environment, if you remain silent when you are being wronged, it often reinforces the perception that he won't speak up anyway. This is the greatest proof of why Stoicism is built on a flimsy foundation in the functional world. Stoicism is a fantasy. In real life, people do not appreciate you for being silent. Most of the time, they don't even realize that silence is a message. Your silence can make you look weak instead of strong. So silence becomes an ineffective weapon, not a powerful tool as the Stoics claimed. Be silent when it is appropriate. Speak when it is appropriate. Don't talk too much and don't be too quiet. The contradiction of those who seek power in silence. There is actually a contradiction behind the Stoics' promotion of silence as a virtue. Silence is ostensibly touted as self-control, but it also means suppressing your emotions. But can someone who suppresses their emotions really be in control of themselves? Suppressing your emotions is not making them disappear. Staying silent does not mean that your anger, sadness, or frustration disappears. These emotions continue to build up inside you, and over time they take a toll on you. At some point, these accumulated emotions can lead to an explosion, and this explosion happens uncontrollably. Understanding and expressing our emotions makes us really powerful. Instead of staying silent, expressing your feelings openly and telling others how you feel transforms you from a passive figure into a powerful individual. Silence is the mask of miscommunication. Silence is often used not as a means of communication, but as a mask for miscommunication. For example, staying silent in an argument weakens your bond with the other person. This is because silence is often perceived as a form of rejection or exclusion. In relationships, silence is particularly damaging. Being silent about something a partner, friend, or family member has done to you does not make that person question their actions. On the contrary, silence causes the emotional bonds to break. If, instead of remaining silent, you openly express how you feel, your relationship with the other person will become stronger. Communication is always a more effective tool than silence. Seeking courage in the shadow of silence. Silence is often a mask for fear, not courage as the Stoics claimed. True courage is to say what you feel, stand up for yourself, and face difficult situations. To remain silent, instead of showing this courage, is to ignore the situation. Think about it. Who are the people you really respect? Those who keep silent, or those who face difficult situations and express themselves openly? People usually respect those who are brave. Those who remain silent are often forgotten. Moving beyond silence. The Stoic myth of silence often pushes people towards passivity. But the real power lies in actively expressing yourself, rather than remaining silent. Silence can be a tool, but it is not always the right tool. Instead of silence, choose to speak, communicate, and express yourself. This does not make you an emotionless individual, as the Stoics claimed. On the contrary, it makes you human. In conclusion, silence can sometimes be golden, but often it is just a wooden mask. It looks like gold, but in reality it is a fragile and weak instrument. The real power lies not in silence, but in your voice. Remember to use it.